That's where the money is. So, let's just play sports and start selling money. Like, nobody's talking about money.
Hey, I'm Granville Emerson, and welcome to LidLine Sports. The music came in kind of funny, sounding at least. So this is LidLine Sports, along with my co-host Renault Pepe Bean.
Yes,
there
sir.
he is, and my other partner, Otis Lil O Stevenson. He'll be up shortly, I would imagine. Hope you all had a very Merry Christmas. And for those of you all who are in Seattle and are dealing with the 6 inches of snow and the weather temperatures down in the teens, God bless you. Pep,
Yes,
look good and warm over there.
I'm trying.
Trying.
Yeah,
I know, man.
outside.
Huh?
I was outside a bit. It was cold.
Okay. I have been well, actually, I think I didn't turn my heat up last night, and woke up this morning and my house was like freezing, and then I've been trying to get it heated all day.
Right.
It's been a chore to heat this joint up, so I got out and about a little bit today. It was kind of
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I mean, practice was canceled today, so I really didn't have anywhere to go. But I wanted to drive the car and see what it felt like again in the snow, get used to how long it takes me to brake and how far I could slide before it actually stops.
Right.
Do all those kind of things that I'll know what to do in case of emergency.
Right.
Yeah, so I always do that when it snows. I get out now, I get in the open area where there's nothing around, and I'll just drive fast and then hit the brakes and see what it's like and get used to driving and driving and in the snow and all that, so I don't be the cause of the problem. Welcome to the show, Otis Stevenson, otherwise named as Lil O. Hope you had a Merry Christmas. I hope that it was full of love and joy for the both of you and all of you all out there listening. Pep,
yeah,
the NFL has made it through this past weekend with all the COVID issues.
Right.
Let's talk NFL off the top.
All right. Well, since we're coming up in the last 2 weeks of the season, I thought maybe I'd run through the standings right now for the AFC and NFC, so you guys can get a good bearing, or people out there can get a good bearing on where teams stand. So right now, looking at the AFC East, you got the Buffalo Bills and the New England Patriots tied up at 9-6. Guys, did you know that the Patriots are 3-5 at home? I had no idea until I read that today.
Yeah.
And Miami. Yeah. Well, that just kind of surprised me. You're 9-6 and you got a 3-5 record at home. You wow. Okay.
It seems to me nowadays that the home field advantage is not what it used to be.
Yeah, ask the Seahawks.
Yeah, well, yeah. Well, they're trash, so that
doesn't, yeah. Okay. So Miami, who's playing right now, and trying to be 8-7, because right now they're 7-7, riding a 6-game winning streak. Who would imagine they'd be in this position when they had started off at 1-7 and hasn't lost a game since? So kudos to Michael Carter's team, the Miami Dolphins. And the New York Jets are bringing up last place, and well, never mind. In AFC West, we got surprise Kansas City Chiefs at 11-4. Hey, do you guys remember when they were 3-4 and fans in KC were actually trying to have a petition started to have Patrick Mahomes replaced?
Yeah. Sound like Seahawks fans.
Yeah. We all agreed that they were nowhere near close to hitting their stride. There was no type of panic when it came to us three talking about the Chiefs. So
Yeah, absolutely. So the Chiefs and the Dolphins are the two hottest teams we're going right now. And so coming up second is the Bolts and the Raiders. Bolts being the Chargers, of course, both at 8-7. Tell me, which team between the Bolts and the Raiders is worse?
Like I said, I am going to give it to the Bolts because the Bolts' record should be better, but their coach is too cavalier with his coaching, as far as I'm concerned. And so he's going by coaching by the numbers instead of coaching by the feel of the game.
And to even piggyback on what you said, their defense is atrocious. So I don't even see them winning a playoff game, even if they make it. Defense is trash.
Yep. And last place in the AFC West is the Denver Broncos at 7-8. So it really got much to say about that. I mean, they're there, but are they? Not really. In the AFC North, we've got the Cincinnati Bengals at 9-6. They have swept the Ravens, and the Steelers in that division, and so it looks like it's the Bengals division to lose. And the Ravens are 8-6, and or 8-7, excuse me, and have been decimated by injury. So the fact that they're over 500 is pretty much amazing. You got to give John Harbaugh a little love for his coaching job. He's lost 2 quarterbacks. He's lost like 4 or 5 running backs, but yet, they're still, in the hunt. So, I try, they're doing pretty much better than what's been given to them as far as injuries concerned.
And a couple of those
Steelers, what'd you say?
Well, saying a couple of those losses literally came down to the last play, coaching decision, 2-point conversion. So, could have gone either way.
Yeah, one I agree with, one I didn't. But that's either here nor there. The Browns are at 7-8. So the AFC West and the AFC North, other than Kansas City, they're pretty close. Everybody's pretty close in each division, which is pretty surprising. But considering the way this year has gone, it seems like mediocrity is about the theme of this season so far.
Who's going to win that division?
In the AFC North, I'm going to have to say Cincinnati. It's theirs to lose. They'd have to. They got to absolutely collapse, I think, in order to lose that. So they're 9-6, I think. So they should be able to win that. Like I said, they've already swept the Ravens and Steelers. So they don't have to worry about them. They just got to play the Browns again. And I'm not. And to play, I can't remember who they play next week. I think it's I can't remember. But anyway, so they should win. They should be 10-6 or excuse me. They should be 11 and I would think 11-6 to end the season, or 10-7 at worst. So we'll see. In the AFC South, you got the Tennessee Titans sitting at 10-5. They got no Derrick Henry for quite a while now, but they still have double-digit wins. But sneaking up right behind them are the Indianapolis Colts at 9-6. Now, didn't we laugh at Carson Wentz to start the season? And isn't it funny how we clowned them when they lost to the Seahawks, but who's the clown now? Because it ain't them.
Something is to be said about a coach who knows your strengths and knows your weaknesses and believes in you as a quarterback.
Yep, and that's why he went there. Yep, absolutely.
And so just the insight given by watching the Colts, Indianapolis Colts in season on NFL Hard Knocks and listening to Frank Reich talk about Carson Wentz, he's been enamored with Carson Wentz long before he got into the NFL. And so when the opportunity came for him to go after and get Carson Wentz, he did not hesitate. That's the guy he's always wanted.
Yep.
And so he says that they think alike. And so I'm sure that's helpful to Wentz.
Absolutely.
In terms of his ability to operate the offense that Frank Reich has given him.
Yeah, and plus, having the fact they got a great running back, and Jonathan Taylor sure doesn't hurt either.
Well, that's the main thing.
Yeah.
that's the main thing is he can throw out play action, right?
Yeah, right. So excellent. So Texans bring up third, and the Jaguars are fourth. Texans just beat up on the LA Bolts. Wow, I mean, no one saw that coming, but oh well.
40 points.
Life in the NFL, man. You just week to week. Speaking of week to week, NFC East, the Cowboys are 11-4 and just throttled the you-know-what out of the Washington football team. So the Cowboys are saying, you know what? We'll see you in the NFC title game. Who are they going to play? Packers, Rams, or I don't know.
Well,
Packers, Rams,
Cardinals.
or Tampa is who I'm thinking.
In the NFC Championship?
Yeah.
So it should be the Packers.
Right.
But if I am going with my WWE conspiracy, it'll be the LA Rams so they can get to the Super Bowl since the Super Bowl is in Los Angeles.
Yeah, true
I'll
that.
keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
I said it was a conspiracy, y'all. I didn't say it was fact.
That's why I say I got to keep an eye on it.
Oh, keep
To
your
me,
eye
out
on it.
of those four teams, it seems to me the Rams would be the least likely, but you've got a good point there, so I can't argue with it. Arizona has dropped down to second place at 10-5, and they've lost 3 straight, but they still clinched the playoff berth, so they'll have that just in time to be one and done in the first round. And San Francisco is 8-7, and they're still within a playoff sight. But you know what sight does? They got Ray Charles shades on because they got a slight chance. Because if them, New Orleans, and who else? If they end up with the same exact record at the end of the season, I think it's the Eagles. Then San Francisco would be out. So they got slim chance. The Seahawks are 5-10 and last place in the NFC West, which they won last year with a 12-4 record. So that's a big nosedive for them. The ESPN computer, if you guys remember at the beginning of the season, had them losing the first 9 games at some point. We didn't think that would happen.
We did.
Yeah, because we didn't think that would happen, but they sure had it closer to the truth than we did for sure. So
yeah, we'll talk about the Seahawks later on in the show more in depth.
Yep. And then in the NFC North, you got the Packers running that show. That 38-3 loss they had to the Saints is way back in the rearview mirror. The Vikings are 7-8. So what? Oh hum. The Bears just beat the Seahawks. Enough said. Detroit is 2-12. They'll probably be 3-12 if they beat the Seahawks next week. And then so in the NFC South, you got the Bucks at 11-4, and then the Saints at 7-7, trying to be 8-7, but right now falling short. And then the Falcons. Now Falcons are 7-8. They've won 7 games. I mean, that's man. Let that sink in.
Yeah, but the NFC South is looking like the AFC East when Brady was with the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
Why did he go to divisions that never have any competition?
Deja vu for Tom Brady.
There are never any good teams in the division he plays in.
No, that's amazing. And
that is amazing.
Yeah,
like all 3 of them are terrible.
Terrible. Panthers are 5-10, and ain't no black in these Panthers. So it's a done deal for them. So that's pretty much it for the standings. For folks out there, since a lot of you are Seahawk fans, I know that because this is a Seattle-based show. But there's other people out there that got teams that are fighting. So if you got any comments about your team that's from what the standings are right now, please feel free to do so. I'd like to see them. And that's about it for the NFL for this week there, G.
All right. Well, good work. There is definitely always interesting stuff going on in the National Football League. I guess the watch is on to see who the next coach is going to get fired. Matt Nagy had a stay of execution by beating the Seattle Seahawks. And so if you remember, there was talk about him getting fired before Thanksgiving.
Right.
He's still holding on.
They won the Lions game.
Huh?
So they won that Thanksgiving game, so that staved off that too.
Yeah, now they beat the Seahawks, and now they're 5-10.
Yep. Same record.
And so we'll see what happens with him. The Broncos coach, what's that guy's name? He's on the hot seat as well.
Yeah.
He came out today begging for his job. Like, I think I deserved a return is the comment that he made, I think.
Baby, please. Baby, please.
Give me one more chance. Baby, give me one more chance.
First things first. Oh, never mind.
Yeah, Dick Fangio. That's his name, Dick Fangio.
Yeah, I forgot about him too.
Yeah. He's playing that song right now.
Mm-hmm.
To the Broncos, and I guess also too, reassigning John Elway has done nothing to help their franchise.
No.
They're still the same.
Yep.
What's going to happen with your dudes? Is this Roethlisberger's swan song? His last year? Is he done?
Well, he should be. I mean,
they're still in the playoff hunt.
Well, they're 7-7-1, right? And then there's 2 games left. So even if they do make it to 9-7, it's still a slim chance they get in. But you know what? What for? What are you gonna do when you get in there? Now, look, I understand anything can happen, right, in the playoffs. You get the right day. A team might be off, but let's be realistic. For now, for argument's sake, Big Ben, he's been in the league 18 years, and people are still crying that he should get another year or whatever. For what? For more of this? Because that's what's going to happen next year. I mean, their defense, they don't have any. The defense is terrible. So and the running game is good. Najee Harris was a rookie. He's okay. But they still got wide receivers that are inconsistent. You got Chase Claypool and Deontay Johnson, who was outstanding, but especially Claypool, he's inconsistent. So they are in a flux. I think they should have drafted a quarterback 2 seasons ago. And they keep a backup in Mason Rudolph who can't play. I mean, I thought Landry Jones was terrible, but this guy is ridiculous. So, they got issues, man. And I don't see anything this season or next season that's going to change that unless, they get somebody like Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson to take over.
Yeah. They have issues, and I'm surprised they haven't addressed that, knowing how old Ben is.
Right.
Right. I don't understand why they've waited so long to address that. Who's their backup?
Mason Rudolph.
What happened to dude from Ohio State?
Dwayne Haskins. He's there, but they're not. They're down on him.
You're down on him? Okay.
Yeah.
So he's third string?
Yeah. He's third string.
Wow.
Do you think it's possible that he may get the opportunity to be the starting quarterback after Ben Roethlisberger retires?
Well, unless they draft one or they get one in free agency or a trade, which I think that they're probably looking to do as far as getting a different quarterback, and I mean free agency. I don't know what they're going to trade for. But
there are no quarterbacks to be drafted that can start right away in the NFL. I don't think.
Not.
Well, no. And that's why I'm saying free agency is probably their best option.
Yeah. So they need to go hard for Russell Wilson, is what you're saying.
or Aaron Rodgers. I mean, I'm only going by what I've heard on certain reports. I'm not just putting this out of my from the top of my head. I've actually heard some of these rumblings before, so
Okay.
I'm just speaking it more into possible existence.
Okay. Breaking news: Jimmy Garoppolo,
Yes,
injured. Jimmy Garoppolo is injured again.
yes,
And he tore a ulnar collateral ligament on his right thumb, and his future is uncertain in terms of the rest of the season on whether or not he'll be able to play.
Trey Lance,
particularly this weekend against who they play against Houston. That remains uncertain, and so it's always been a knock on Jimmy. He's kind of like Rashad Penny. He always gets hurt. Can you play a whole season?
Mm-hmm.
And the 49ers were playing a good brand of football as of late. Very punishing brand of football. And so Trey Lance, his backup is like some Pillsbury biscuits that you got to cook for 20 minutes and you only been into the oven baking for like 10. He's not ready. He's not ready.
He's gonna have to be ready.
You put Trey Lance out there for a playoff run, just like them biscuits, he won't be pleasing to the eye or the taste.
Oh yes, that stand-up comedy is coming out right now.
And so they're in bad shape, not having Jimmy G. And they were playing well.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. All of a sudden, the strong NFC West just got kind of weak.
Yeah.
As of late, especially with the Cardinals losing 2 in a row.
3
in a row? I thought it was 3, and somebody told me 2. I knew I should have looked it up.
No.
Thanks, Pep.
You got it.
So, yeah, they're looking kind of weak. I don't know what's up with the Cardinals. But that's the kind of season it is in the NFL, though. Teams look bad, and then all of a sudden they look really good. Let's take the Cowboys, for instance.
Yeah.
The Cowboys ran the Washington football team last night.
Woo!
When I turned the game on, it was 21-0. I was like, Lord Jesus, what's happening here? 21-0 in the first quarter? Man, what happened? Who watched it? Either one of you watched it from the beginning?
No, when I turned it on,
the football team stay in the locker room like practice squad players. Did everybody have COVID?
When I turned it on, it was 14-0.
Man, they got ran. I haven't seen a team get ran like that since might have been 2011 when the Seahawks ran the Cardinals 58-0.
Oh yeah. Oof.
I was at that game.
Yeah, I remember that. Wow.
It was cold. It was fun.
And plus, Washington had 2 guys fighting on the sideline.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because he was mad at the defense from the last week's game when they got ran.
Right.
They got ran 2 weeks in a row.
Yes.
And, coming into the season, their defense, they were predicting their defense to be the strength of their team.
Yep.
Well, they lost what? What's his name? Chase Young?
Yeah.
Yeah, they lost him.
Well, they weren't playing well before Chase Young got hurt.
No, true. That's true. But, getting hurt when he did sure didn't help.
Yeah. Ronald Dorsey, am I going where? Where do you want me to be going? I don't know. I ain't going anywhere. Well, I got to go to practice tomorrow and battle that snow. But other than that, I'm in the house. Where do you want me to be going, Ronald Dorsey?
Back to
Cali. Just trying to figure this out. Happy birthday, Tony Benton.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
General manager, the brains behind Rainier Avenue Radio World. Oh, the Super Bowl. I can't go anywhere during basketball season. The team is going with me. So I'm not going to the Super Bowl. That would be nice, though.
Yeah, how was that Cali tournament down there?
Oh, it was lovely.
I'm not talking about the weather, man. I'm talking about
the weather.
I got a tan, man. I was out in the beach, man, just like.
Look, I already know about the weather. I don't need to hear.
Man, it was lovely. Man, I can't express to you how glorious it was.
Stop
it was extremely beautiful.
Yes.
We lost to Sagemont from Florida. We were up, man, and then they came back. They had some dudes, man.
Mm-hmm.
They came back on us, and we lost by 2. And then after that, we spanked everybody else. So it was a good tournament. Went 3-1. Had some good teams down there. Some really good teams. It was really. I liked that tournament. I liked the competition.
Mm-hmm.
Different matchups that you have to prepare for every game, like overnight. Right. It's kind of like the state tournament. Gives you that whole feel of what you got to do, prepare yourself for the state tournament. And Nancy Conyers, I'm not stopping with anything related to warm and sunny. I'm always going to keep that going. So just, turn down your volume when I'm talking or whatever you need to do. But that's going to be happening. Bishop Montgomery, once again, we beat Bishop Montgomery in 2019 to win the championship. Mm-hmm. And they won it again this year. Man, they're like UCLA. Their coach has been there for 33 years.
Woo. That
dude, he's straight old school too, Pep.
Yeah.
He cusses them dudes up and down like they got a tail. I like it. Maybe because he's 33 years old and always winning championships, he can keep getting away with that. But ain't nobody getting away with that dude's getting away with nowadays. But he's a very good coach, and they always got players, man. And this dude, Will Smith, look out for a dude named Will Smith from Bishop Montgomery.
Okay.
He was about 6'6", plays like he's 6'9".
Wow.
He's nice. He's got a nice overall game. Probably an NBA dude.
Wow, nice.
Yeah. There are a few dudes down there that are probably, going to be really good in college, maybe make it to the league, man. It's a good tournament. It's a good tournament. And so
that's good.
I'm trying to think of the kid's name, Pep. When we come back from break, I'll have his name, but his dad used to play in the NBA, played for Sagemont, big 6'11" kid. He's really nice, but he's got the worst attitude I've ever seen in my life.
Oh.
So you got back-to-back, you got technical against us and then a technical against somebody else. I'm like, well, this dude, get out of your own way, dude.
Yeah, I can't.
But it was fun. It was fun. We had a good time. Kids had a good time. I enjoyed the weather, of course. It was a really good trip, man. Thanks for asking.
You're welcome.
We're gonna take a break, and when we come back, we're gonna come back with that dude called Lil O, and he's gonna hip us to what's going on in the National Basketball Association. Let us know all about Kyrie Irving, who came back to play and then got COVID because he was sitting out because he didn't want to get the vaccination for COVID, and came back and got COVID, and then had to go into COVID protocol. And I don't know, has he played yet, O?
No, he has not.
We'll be right back after this. Don't go away.
This is Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not translating the lyrics of Boogie Oogie Oogie for bored Europeans, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
God is Rainier Avenue Radio.world, your favorite community radio station. We're putting out all kind of inputs for you in your community. So come on and listen to us and tune us in. Get on our Facebook, Instagram, and all, as we're doing it right here for you in your community with Rainier Avenue Radio.world. And God is an inspiration of gospel music. Also, we're doing a lot of different things in your community. We give out free food. We give out a lot of things in the community. We do a lot of shows. We do a lot of things on the sports part, and we want you to come on out and tune us in and come to the community, and we do a lot of things in your community. So make sure you go to our website, Rainier Avenue Radio.world, and also go to the God Is website and look us up and see what we do in your community, something maybe you might like. So come on by and check us out from 11 to 2. free food giveaway.
Mga kaibigan, ito si Kuya Bert Kawili.
And this is Miles Salvador from Australia.
And I'm Nort Kawili, also known as Nordcam.
Kung gusto niyo po ang latest news and events from the Philippines at yung local Filipino community, Phil Radio po.
We play Filipino music and interview guests from all around the world.
And I'll keep you updated on the latest Seahawks and sports news.
Kaya always tune in, Phil Radio every Tuesday, 1 to 2:30 p.m. Pacific Time on Rainier Avenue Radio World.
And in YouTube and Facebook. Salamat po.
All of us have struggled through the COVID-19 pandemic, and many of our communities have been particularly hard hit. Some things definitely need to change, but a few things should stay the same, like protecting your child from serious diseases you can prevent now. Preventable diseases like measles, mumps, and whooping cough. Is camp, childcare, or in-person school on your family's agenda? Give your child a healthy and safe summer and school year by making sure they're up to date on vaccinations and well child visits. You have the power to protect. Call your healthcare provider to find out what vaccinations your child is due for and make an appointment today. If you need help finding a provider, visit parenthelp123.org or call the Help Me Grow Washington hotline at 1-800-322-2588. An interpretation is available.
Rainier Avenue Radio.world is your 24/7 digital media hub. Tune in at Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and TuneIn apps.
Hello, I'm Granville Emerson, and welcome back to LidLine Sports, along with my co-host Renault Pepe.
Pepper.
Pepe Bean, and that dude named Lil O Stevenson. I gave him that name, y'all, Lil O. So that's not really his real name or like his like rapper handle or nothing like that. That's just, when we first started, I just threw him a little. We had Pepe, so I wanted to throw him a little something. And so now it's Lil O. His mama didn't like it, but shit, my mama. Oh, what's happening in the NBA, man?
Oh man, just like you said, a lot of players being called out of the woodworks. Players like Kyrie Irving, who was not even going to play in the league this year, is officially back with the Nets. But just like you said before break, he was put straight in the COVID protocol. Me and Pep talked last week, and I think I said that his first possibility to play was last Thursday, and that winning came. So, yeah, I think he's in 10-day protocol. So possibly we may see him, if not this week, next week. For you guys.
Well, they shortened the time. They got new protocol rules.
Yes, so you're right about that. I am going to get into that. So possibly this week, maybe, depending on his conditioning and so forth, whatnot. But we saw players like Joe Johnson get called into the NBA, Lance Stevenson. Isaiah Thomas just finished his 10-day contract with the LA Lakers. And this isn't going anywhere. The NBA actually has broken a record for most players to play in one season. It was last year, it was 450, and they just broke it today with 451.
I want to know how they can start Isaiah Thomas. There you go, Michael Carter. Will IT get picked up? Good question. I want to know how they can start Isaiah Thomas and then 5 days later not give him another 10-day contract.
Man, I think that's a really tough situation, G. It's a good question. So we know Isaiah Thomas got picked up last week after having 40 points in the G League, had 19 points in 21 minutes his first game, a really solid 13 points in his second game. And then the game against the Phoenix Suns, I think he went 0 for 9 or something like that. And then the game after that against the Timberwolves, he came off the bench, really couldn't get a rhythm. I watched the end of the game where he played, but what I was hearing throughout that game was LeBron James and Isaiah Thomas were really aggressive at looking at shots for themselves. So IT couldn't get in the rhythm. That's a slippery slope. Watching IT, I did think he provided offensive spark. But what the LA Lakers are clearly lacking in is defensive efficiency, and we all know that IT is not really efficient in defense himself. But I did find it kind of odd that he went from starting playing well to going to sign Darren Collinson, playing Rondo more, and him falling out of the rotation for Christmas Day. Yeah, I don't. It seems like that's definitely a question for management. I couldn't see exactly where IT went totally wrong, where they went to go sign Darren Collinson. I understood when a lot of those guys come out of COVID protocol, like Malik Monk and all that those guys were going to get thrusted back into the rotation. So that's slippery slope. What did you see from IT?
I saw Malik Monk post "Free Me" on Twitter. That's what I saw. I'll be honest. I haven't watched much basketball because in the tournament, I was either at a gym or breaking down film and a scouting report for the next game. So I hadn't watched any NBA. I watched Boston, whoever Boston played the other day. Was that on Christmas?
Yeah, they play Milwaukee.
I watched a little of that game. I don't watch any of the Laker games because I was doing family stuff. So they didn't have the TV on, and I wasn't trying to turn it on.
What'd you see, Pep?
I never saw the Lakers when IT was playing, but I did watch the second half of the Christmas game. And it's the same old story, man. You know, we talked about at the beginning of the season that they're not they don't have any chemistry. You know, Russell Westbrook is not the right fit there. You know, not for that team. He might be fit somewhere else, but he's not the right fit for that team. So them not getting Buddy Hield and pursuing that instead, and you know, instead of going for taking all that time and effort to get Westbrook, you know, I think if they would have gotten Buddy Hield, that probably would have been a better fit for him because he's a good outside shooter. He's unselfish. I'm not saying Russ is selfish, but Russ is he's a type A kind of ball player, you know, and that's not going to fit with LeBron and AD and some of the other guys they have on that squad. So, you know, the Lakers are struggling. They're going to continue to struggle until they get their chemistry right. And I do know that some of the guys that they signed earlier in the year, you know, we questioned a lot of that because, you know, they signed a lot of older players. And where are they at? Well, they're in street clothes, as we expect.
Yeah, I did watch the Laker game where Isaiah started. I did watch that game. I don't remember who they were playing. But it looked like he played well and fit into what they were trying to do. And he was able to create his own offense, which is something they needed from somebody besides LeBron. And then he also knocked down open threes when the ball got kicked out to him, which is something they desperately need. Yeah. And I sat up there and watched Wes Matthews the other night for Dallas knocking down threes. I was like, where was that when he played for the Lakers?
Milwaukee. And that was the first thought I thought too watching that game. I ain't seen him make a shot in 2 years.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. So yeah, the future for IT, I do think he'll get an opportunity somewhere else. I think he did enough in those 4 games to show that he can help some team out. But just kind of like with Russell Westbrook, I just thought maybe the fit at LA, and also I don't think that's also such a bad idea for him not playing with a team like LA who is all over the place right now. Russell Westbrook is just out of fit playing next to LeBron James. He turns the ball over at a high erratic rate, which is the opposite of how LeBron James plays. The rumors are, will his name be up for grabs at the trade deadline? It's a really tough price to ask to try to get rid of Russell Westbrook after giving up pieces to get him. But we'll see. I mean, we know there's players out there: Ben Simmons, Damian Lillard.
Yeah, well, as it stands right now, the Lakers are in the 8th spot in the Western Conference.
Yep.
With all the injuries that they've had and new acquisitions that they've had. And you have to start at some point. I feel like you have to point the finger at Rob Pelinka because he's the one that's got this freaking carousel of players going through LA the last 2 years. And so you got to point the finger at him. And then you also have to look at their coach and try to figure out what he's doing. with the rotating starting lineups and the philosophy that they have. Like I said, when I watch them, they don't run nothing. It's all a bunch of ISOs or ball pick stuff, and there's nothing else. And so there's no offense. And so you gotta look at them. But right now they're looking pretty bad. But as I say, the real season doesn't start till after All-Star break, and right now they're in the 8th spot. And so we'll see there.
Well, red flag is they're getting blown out at home.
11.5 games back. I don't care what they're doing right now, Pep, as long as in the playoff hunt. If they're getting blown out in March, then I'm in agreement.
Okay.
Right? Because to me, it doesn't matter what's happening with them right now per se. I mean, it does, but as long as they can, if AD gets healthy and they start to gel in the second half, and it's a bunch of ifs, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But if they can, then they still have a legitimate chance to do something in the playoffs if they can get their dudes back healthy, and we'll see. But I don't really see that happening.
Hey guys, I got a question. What do you guys think of what New York did with Kemba Walker? Thibodeau benched him, right? Took him out of the rotation, and then a few weeks later he's back. He gets 44 in his first significant action back. He gets a triple-double Christmas, and we're talking about Kemba's maturity where he didn't pout. He just took it. And then, evidently, they probably had a nice long conversation with the coach to figure out what is expected of him. So I hope to see more of that kind of success. I'm not saying that's going to happen with the Lakers, but I was just interested in seeing how your take was on the Kemba Walker situation.
That's so interesting. Also, player of the week for last week as well. It just sounds like now with him being thrusted back in the rotation like that, it just seemed like there was also something going on internal between Tom Thibodeau and Kemba Walker as well. You don't just go from somebody being one of your best offensive players and your starting point guard to not even being in the rotation, and you're already without or Derrick Rose in and out of your lineup. Like I said, it almost seemed like there was some friction also going on in between those two as well. Now, with that said, it took Derrick Rose getting hurt for him to be thrusted back in the rotation. But shout out to Kemba Walker also being ready and taking on that challenge, accepting his role, and helping the New York Knicks find ways to get dubs because they need it bad as well because they are not playing well right now consistently.
Well, two things. Number one, Derrick Rose is Tom Thibodeau's dude from Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
That's number one. Number two, Tom Thibodeau is a defensive coach. So he probably kicked him to the bench for not playing defense the way he wants him to play defense, which happens. And it goes back to what I was saying about Carson Wentz. Sometimes you have talent, but you don't have a coach that believes in your talent, or they want to pigeonhole you into what they want to do, which is not good for your talent. But then you go and you find a coach that recognizes your talent, and he gives you the opportunity to do what you do. And that's where he is now.
Yeah, and I definitely understand Tom Thibodeau's coaching style and understand that Kemba Walker may not be the perfect fit for that. And I agree with what you say as well.
Zach LaVine wasn't Tom Thibodeau's fit for his coaching style.
And look where look where Zach is at now. But definitely, I wholeheartedly agree with what you said. The mesh was clearly not there. It works out for both of them. Speaking on all this COVID stuff, just like G mentioned earlier in the show, NBA players who now test positive for COVID-19 have a quicker path to the return to the court. The league completed a significant update to the health and safety protocols on Monday. This was after the CDC did the same thing. Now, instead of players isolating for 10 days, they only have to isolate for 5. So we will now see players return much quicker to the floor after being in COVID protocols. And I think we also already seen that case happen for Jordan Poole. He was able to come back to Golden State today, as in I think he had a few more days left on his COVID protocol. So that'll be great. Hopefully we can make it through this Christmas holiday of more COVID cases and keep the good product on the floor. I know Kevin Durant's on his way of returning. And players like that, because the NBA, just like the NFL, is hurting when it comes to these COVID cases. And everybody who is a G League player, maybe even you, Granville, you might get that call. 10-day contract. Waiting for you. 10-day contract.
I ain't giving me no 10-day contract, not to play.
Okay, power rankings this week. Golden State has jumped back into number 1 with a pretty good win over the Phoenix Suns on Christmas night.
Hey, Lil O.
What was that?
What's up with Klay Thompson? Because I thought he was supposed to be back for Christmas, right? Or
January
maybe
return date. They haven't given a specific date, but they are targeting January. So
okay,
give it a 3-4 weeks. I will definitely keep up with the hearings and rumors on that, but we will be seeing, looks like Klay Thompson in the next 3 to 4 weeks.
Man, they get him back. Woo-wee.
Yeah, because that was a pretty good win. Like I said, without Jordan Poole, Andrew Wiggins, James Wiseman, Klay Thompson.
Yeah.
They're going to be scary once healthy. Dropping to 2 would be the Phoenix Suns after the loss to the Warriors. They're also losing today by 15, I think, to the Memphis Grizzlies. They got hit with COVID. No Monty Williams, no DeAndre Ayton, no Jay Crowder.
Oh, man.
Yeah, every team is going to have a rough patch like this. So better to get it now than later on in the season. So, and then the Brooklyn Nets with a really nice, convincing win over the LA Lakers on Christmas night. I got them at number 3. 4, the Utah Jazz playing really well and consistent. And then we got to see a healthy Milwaukee Bucks for the first time pretty much all season. And they beat the Boston Celtics after the Boston Celtics blew a lead. Nothing new there. But Giannis is thrusting himself back in the MVP conversation. And they also got Dante DiVincenzo back. All the way now is Brook Lopez. So the defending champs have finally put themselves in the top 5 of my power rankings at number 5.
Interesting that the Chicago Bulls are 21-10. Very interesting. 22-9.
They're
interesting. They're 1 game back out of first place.
And like I said, I think the wins that Brooklyn has had without Kevin Durant, James Harden on the court consistently.
So you're basing your power rankings on if they get the squad back together again, not as currently constituted.
Week to week. I think the Chicago Bulls lost. Actually, I think they did pretty well this week.
They're blowing somebody out right now by 30.
Yes.
Well, Chicago won tonight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, the game's over. Yeah.
Yeah, DeRozan at 35, Levine at 30.
Yeah.
Week to week. Because I could put
Lucky at 21 in the first half.
Too.
Huh?
I could have cut Cleveland in there too.
Yeah, they're 20-13.
Top
Good.
5.
That's good stuff. For everybody watching, the CDC released new guidelines today on COVID, and you only have to quarantine for 5 days. If you have no symptoms the next 5 days, you just have to wear a mask when you're around people. Those are the new CDC guidelines. They need some guidelines for the Seattle Seahawks because they are beyond sick, losing to the hapless Chicago Bears yesterday, blowing a 10-point lead. Any thoughts on that before I go into my rant, Pep or O?
This one was disheartening to be able to watch. And don't get me wrong, Nick Foles has proven to be a winner. But it was disheartening to see how the Seahawks played so well defensively over the last 4 or 5 weeks. Just to see the Chicago Bears just be able to march down the field the way they did in harsh conditions. It was really disheartening to see. It's just like almost not necessarily gave up, but all the fight that we had over the last 3-4 weeks to even still have our head above water just flatlined this game, man. It was just a tell all of our season pretty much. It was really disheartening to see that.
Yep.
Well, you saw yesterday why Matt Nagy probably needs to be fired because he had Andy Dalton starting most of the season until he got hurt, and then he put in Justin Fields. I don't have a problem with Fields. My problem is with Andy Dalton. He should have had Nick Foles starting from the jump. Nick Foles played his first game yesterday, and he looked like he played all season. He was pretty good with limited talent, you know. And then of course they let Jimmy Graham get the winning touchdown, which is fitting, you know. So the Seahawks are who they are, who they've been all season. You know, they get stops on third down, but it gets negated by a penalty, and then so the other team gets new life, and they march down and score. The Seahawks can't sustain drive. They're the worst team in the league at time of possession. So, and of course, they can't run a screen to save their life, and they can't defend the screen to save their life. So, you know, I'm done. I don't know what else to say. We've seen it all. They're terrible.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty shocking to me to look at the standings and see that the Seahawks have double-digit losses. That they're 5-10. That's been a long time ago, decades since that has happened. Yep. And they haven't finished last in the division in 25 years. So my question is, who goes and who needs to stay? Pep?
Well, if you think I'm going to say Russ needs to go, you're sadly mistaken. No, it ain't him. My guy that needs to go is PC. I know he's been the Seahawks' best coach, but there's a time where it's over. He's 70, and you know, last year told us he was on shaky ground. He's terrible at clock management, and yesterday was awful as far as clock management. You know, and his decisions on draft picks and personnel have been trash. You know, shaky the last few years. I mean, I see nothing in D. Eskridge that's going to tell me he's going to really do something next year when he's healthy. Nothing. Freddie Swain, you know, he's a nice little third down guy, but he never gets yards after a catch when he catches the ball. Matter of fact, unless it's a long bomb to Tyler Lockett, they don't get yards after the catch. Even DK, when he catches in the flat, he gets tackled. They don't never have a guy that can hit the middle and get yards after the catch. So they need some talent. They need some, you know, Rashad Penny played well the last couple of games, but the jury's out. I don't know if I can trust him. And Carson is always hurt now. So, you know, they got a lot of personnel decisions to look at and figure out. But I think Pete is probably his time to go.
Oh,
this is a really tough decision. You know, I do like Pete Carroll. I think he is a good coach. I like Russell Wilson. We've always said that it's hard to get a quarterback, so for sure he's not going. I kind of do want to see, with this being the first time the Seahawks have not make the playoffs in the last, I don't know if it's 9 to 10 years. I want to see what can they do this offseason and see if they can retool and give the nucleus one last shot to maybe make a run. Now, if that's saying risking possibly not having a great season again next year, I think Pete and Russell at least deserve that. But I do want to see if these guys can retool and come back and possibly compete for a Super Bowl and give it one more chance. But if we see a repeat of this again, yeah, something's got to give, and it's time to tear down this dynasty that's been built over the last 10 years and start all over.
Yeah. Michael Carter asked, do they keep Penny? And Rhonda Dorsey says you got to give Pete one more year. So I agree with you, Bill Walker Jr. He should have never let Russell Wilson play coming out after just 4 weeks after his surgery, which everybody knew it was an 8-week deal for him to play. And his hand is still not right. And you can tell because some balls just get away from him, and that's never happened before, that degree. Yeah, a lot of people want to get rid of Pete now. Pep, you said to get rid of him because his philosophy is outdated, right? And they need to do something different, correct?
Correct.
Well, here's what Pete says, and I quote, "No, not for one reason at all am I thinking that we have to restart this whole thing and create a new philosophy and a new approach and all that."
Well, get ready for the same.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Get ready for the same old next year then.
Yeah.
He says, "I don't think that. I think we've got the essence of things that we need. We've got to build on them. We've got to support it better, and we've got to continue to grow and progress. There ain't no standing still, but there's the foundation for doing things." Now, let me take that apart right quick.
Mm-hmm.
Number one, he says he doesn't think that they need to restart it and create a new philosophy. Well, okay, if you don't want to do that, then somebody else needs to. Because this philosophy is not working, and it has not worked. And the only reason why we weren't in this position where we are now, the Seattle Seahawks I'm speaking of, is because of Russell Wilson. And that's what fans don't understand. And it's what I have been saying at the end of every offseason. Have I not, Pep?
Yes.
Russell Wilson's philosophy, Pete Carroll's philosophy demands that they keep the game close so Russell can pull a rabbit out of his hat at the end of the game. And now that Russell's hurt, he can't pull a rabbit out of his hat. Am I right?
Correct.
And so you had 4 games when Russell was hurt, 4 games with him coming back trying to play hurt. That's 8 losses right there. And so, they have to. I have no confidence right now in Pete and John Schneider to rebuild.
Thank you.
That's fair.
Because they should have been rebuilding since the Super Bowl. But their draft picks have not worked out.
None.
Their acquisitions have not worked out because they've acquired people and wanted them to do something other than what they were great at doing.
Correct.
So we saw that yesterday in Jimmy Garoppolo. We never threw that pass to Jimmy Garoppolo.
Graham.
Garoppolo, yeah, Graham, Jimmy G. Both of them, right? Thank
Yep.
you, Pat. That's why I need a partner. Jimmy Graham, right?
Yep.
And so I have no confidence in them. So I feel like Pete, his time is up, but I know he's not going anywhere.
Yep, true.
And I know Russell Wilson is not going anywhere. And my only hope is that they go out and get some offensive linemen because that's the only thing that's going to change anything. It's not the running backs. It's not the wide receiver. It's not the quarterback. It has always been the O-line. When we were good, we had the highest paid O-line in the league. When we were great. All right? So that nothing's going to change until that changes. All right?
Yep.
So what to look forward to in 2022? Hopefully we look forward to the Seahawks finally addressing their line issues and stop going and getting B players and go and get some dudes to play the offensive line. They may have to sacrifice Bobby Wagner to do it, but, they got linebackers. All right? So they need to do that. They cleared $13 million in cap space, and so according to next year's cap, they'll have $26 million in cap space. So they can go get some dudes. They need to go get some dudes and quit fooling around and try putting everything on Russell Wilson and letting him get the blame for everything. Right? Finally, a year Russell Wilson did not have a good year. Thank you all for watching us tonight. We're way out of time, overtime. Thank you for watching on Facebook Live, Twitch, and YouTube, and listening on radio on Rainier Avenue Radio.world and all of our podcast platforms. We'll be back next year for more LidLine Sports. Holla!
You got to like the way I